Hey everybody, so the nominees for the Game Awards 2020 were just announced, and I thought I'd do something a little different, go through, talk about my predictions, who I think are going to win, and also who I hope will win. So let's get started. First, we're just going to skip Game of the Year and Best Game Direction because they share a lot of the same nominees, and I don't want to really spoil that. We'll save that for the end. Okay, so we're going to start with Best Narrative. For outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. I haven't played 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Seems cool, but I haven't played it, so I can't talk to it. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Awesome story, and some people might say, oh, well, it was written for them. Well, what they did with the story, changed it, remixed it, and the parts that we were really excited to see again, they knocked out of the park. So, definitely an awesome job. Ghost of Tsushima, a good story, but I wouldn't call it amazing. It was nothing we hadn't seen before. Take Back the Land and Revenge, and it was good, but nothing crazy. Hades, awesome story. Just the way that the story can unfold all at once in little pieces here and there, talking to different characters in different instances, what they might say to you depending on what you've seen, what you haven't seen, is incredible. The writer, just the amount of things that he had to take into account. They talk about how all of the systems of little checks that the game had to see if you had talked to this character and heard that line of dialogue to talk to another character, for them to mention what that character told you. Just the amount of interweaving stuff is insane in Hades. And then The Last of Us Part 2, the second chapter of my favorite game of all time. Neil Druckmann, Haley Gross, awesome job. People do criticize it for being, a revenge story. That doesn't mean it can't be an excellent revenge story, and I think it is. But for me, I have to give it to Hades for just the amount of dialogue, the amount of story just waiting to be found in the little nooks and crannies of the game, in the codex and everything. Hades is just on another level. I've never played a game that had that much to it, and also that much that you could miss, and that's what makes it so awesome. So yeah, my vote is for Hades, and what do I think will happen is a harder question. I think a game like Last of Us Part 2 will usually win this kind of category, but really I could see it going to any of these three: 7 Remake, Hades, or Last of Us Part 2. But my guess is Last of Us Part 2. So we'll see what happens. Alright, next, Best Art Direction. For outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. So, my bet before I even knew the nominees was that Ghost of Tsushima was going to win every kind of category of this kind. Just the environmental design and the beautiful landscapes of that game are really breathtaking. It's so interesting to have these 5 games, a remake of a game where we knew the characters, knew what the world looked like, but the rendition of it in today's graphics and everything is beautiful and honestly better than we could have imagined. So that's amazing. Ghost of Tsushima, like I mentioned, just beautiful, painterly-like landscapes. Hades, a artistic rendition of Greek mythology, which has been around pretty much forever, but did an awesome job and had a really unique take. Like if you look at some of the art of the different gods and stuff, just so beautiful. Ori and the Will of the Wisp, a sequel to another just beautiful game. Looks similar, but stunning. I haven't played it, but beautiful game. And Last of Us Part 2, possibly the most realistic graphically game that we've ever gotten. So it's going to be down to what the jury and the 10% of fan voters decide, whether they like realistic stuff or just beautiful artwork. But for me, and what I think is, I have to just give it to the game that I think is the prettiest to look at, because at the very end of the day, that's what this is for. So for me, I'd have to say that is Hades. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but Hades is just gorgeous, and that game is just awesome. Who do I think will win? Probably Ghost of Tsushima. Like I said, I think it's gonna win this kind of category. It was the one thing people didn't shut up about when that game came out, and I agree with them, is that it's breathtaking. Alright, next is Best Score in Music. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Alright guys, I'm going to still sound like a broken record, but Hades, Darren Korb, he was nominated for Transistor in 2014, didn't win. He's made all of Supergiant's soundtracks for their 4 games. This is the 4th game. Never won. I hope he wins. I hope he wins. He's an incredible composer. I listen to it all the time. All of his soundtracks are awesome, and I hope he wins kind of as a recognition of all the work that he has done. So I hope he wins. That being said, Final Fantasy VII Remake, the music is excellent. Nobuo Uematsu's original score, one of the greats. And their rendition, just like with everything in Final Fantasy VII Remake, how they were able to update it, remix it, make it new again, outstanding. Last of Us Part 2, Gustavo Santaolalla, incredible. Just these 3, amazing. I haven't played Ori and the Will-O-Wisps or Doom Eternal. I'm sure they earned their spot in this category. I'll have to go and give them a listen. But I just know for a fact that these 3 are just out of this world awesome. And so I'd be happy with any of these. I hope Darren Korb gets the win for all the work that he's done. But if I had to predict, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake could win this one. Just because that music is always going to be great. Next is Best Audio Design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. I don't have a lot to say about this one because I've only played Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2. So I don't even think I will vote in this one because I don't feel like I have the authority to say whether either of these are better than the others. But Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 had excellent sound. Both of these, they just really immerse you. But I don't feel like I have the authority to say anything about this category, really, so I'm just going to move on. Okay, now the big one. Best Performance, awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. This one is really hard. I haven't gotten a PS5 yet, and I want to play Spider-Man. I don't want to play it on my PS4, so I haven't played Miles Morales yet. But I think it's really funny that Najee Jeter is going up against his old co-star of Ashley Johnson. And I know that Najee Jeter is an awesome actor, but I can't speak to his actual... I mean, he was awesome in the original as Miles Morales, but I can't really talk to his performance in Spider-Man Miles Morales because I haven't played it yet. I'm sure it's awesome, though. Daisuke Tsuji as Jin Sakai. I don't know if this is controversial to say, but Jin is a pretty boring character to me, and I don't think that's the fault of Daisuke Tsuji. I think he's kind of supposed to be stoic and, he's got a purpose and he's just going for it. Good character, but nothing about him specifically was ever why Ghost of Tsushima was awesome to me. So I wouldn't say I'd vote for him or think that he would win. Then we have Ashley Johnson and Laura Bailey, which two actors who just knock it out of the park every time. They're just the best. Love Critical Role, and these two are just awesome in everything that they do, and especially Last of Us Part 2. I don't want to say anything that might be seen as a spoiler, but Ashley Johnson's performance as Ellie, she just took that character that I love so much in such a different direction. You just see her in a different light, and I didn't think that was possible with how many times I played the original and what I knew of her. So really, that was the biggest thing about her performance. And Laura Bailey as Abby, this character, I can't spoil anything, but how do I say this without spoiling it? But just a great character. Great character. I really like her a lot. I empathize with her and her journey, and you really shouldn't be able to, but Laura Bailey makes it happen. And oh man, that I'm like talking myself into some things right now, but just that's so awesome about Abby. But then we have Logan Cunningham as Hades, which I think it's funny that it makes sense, but funny that they put Logan Cunningham as Hades with he's Hades, he's Poseidon, he's a million characters in that game, and in every Supergiant game. The narrator in Bastion, one of the classics, just an awesome performance that everyone talks about. And he's been working with Supergiant since, and doing an awesome job the whole time. And just like Darren Korb for Best Score, never winning any awards for it. And so, in a similar vein, going into this video, I thought that I was going to say that he should win because of all the work he's done, and as a recognition of his work with Supergiant in the past, and this awesome performance, and all of his performances in Hades. But, man, I just kind of convinced myself with Laura Bailey, so now I have to think about this for a second. So, pardon me while I contemplate this.
2 hours later.
Oh my god, seriously, this is too hard. Between Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey, and Logan Cunningham, this year is stacked like none other. Let me just take this moment while I think about this to just say, man, 2020, not a great year in general. Had its moments, but I think we all agree, mostly bad. But for video games, this is, I'm going to say it, best year for video games ever to this day. We haven't had a year with more incredible experiences where I didn't know what to play. I'd play something and feel guilty I wasn't playing something else. Amazing year. Not enough time in the world to play all the awesome games that came out this year, and I think it's shown in all these categories, and especially this one. That being said, I have to vote for Laura Bailey as Abby. It pains me so much to see these grayed out now, but oh my god, it's so close. But like I said, she just did something that shouldn't have been possible. Literally. That's what she did. She did something that should not have been possible. And for that, I have to give her my vote. And I think that she will also win. Hopefully, Supergiant's next game doesn't come out in such a stacked year, and Logan Cunningham can win that for all of his work that he's done. He deserves it so much. Okay. Next is Games for Impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. The only game I've played is Spiritfarer, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to vote or anything like that for this one. Spiritfarer is really awesome. I know, just in a little bit of reading Twitter before making this video, I know people are upset that Kentucky Route Zero, this is the only award it was nominated for. Seems like a really cool game, and has been ongoing for a long time. The reason it's counted as this year is because its final episode came out this year, and so all the episodes are out in this TV edition, but it was only nominated for this, which is a bummer for the people who like that game. I know Tell Me Why did some cool stuff in this category. I'm sure all these games are worth your time and looking into them if this is something you're into, which it should be. Best Ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. None of these games, I mean, I love Apex Legends. It's a lot of fun. I've just played it a little bit, but super blast to play with friends. Destiny 2, I know it's been a roller coaster of ups and downs for that game, and people generally like it now and are pretty addicted to it. Fortnite, you know, you'd never stop hearing about Fortnite, and, you know, rightfully so. They do interesting stuff, just with, like, playing movies in the game and stuff that I've heard about. Crazy. Super awesome. And so, in terms of evolving over time, like, yeah, it probably doesn't get better than Fortnite. But then there's No Man's Sky, which was just atrocious when it came out. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It was really horrible, and for that reason, I haven't picked it up since, just because I just hated it so much when it came out. But I've heard it's really awesome now, and that should be commended too. Haven't played Warzone, but I haven't really played any of these games, so I'm not going to vote again. But if I have to say what I think will win, I'm going to guess Fortnite again. Just, you hear about the Marvel stuff it's doing and all that stuff, just, it's probably going to win that one. Alright, then we got Best Indie, for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. This one, I love indie games, so I'm really surprised I haven't played most of these. I haven't played Carrion, I haven't played Spelunky 2, and I've only played a little, like, half of Spiritfarer, which is really awesome. Played a lot of Fall Guys, played the crap out of Hades, as you know by now. I think it's obvious that I'm going to vote for Hades in this one, but really has to be said how awesome Fall Guys was. Took the world by storm, was super popular until another game kind of ate its lunch, which we're about to get to. But these games, awesome. Love indie games. Love Devolver. Yeah, let's move on. Best mobile game, for the best game playable on a mobile device. I don't play a lot of mobile stuff, so I'm not going to vote again. But yeah, Among Us. You know what? I am going to vote, which I feel like I have the knowledge to be able to vote for Among Us. It's just the biggest game right now, and it came out in 2018, and being nominated for Best Mobile Game 2 years later, just the story with that game, incredible. I've only played it a couple times. I've watched a lot of it. Super fun, just super fun. Deserves to win. Genshin Impact, people really like that game. You know, I don't really like the gacha aspects of mobile, and I've heard a lot of stuff about that it kind of has those aspects. Among Us doesn't have any of that stuff that mobile usually has. It's just a fun game, easy to play, grab some friends, awesome. Deserves to win, in my mind, and I think it will win. Best Community Support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency and responsiveness, inclusiveness of social media activity, and game updates/patches. How is this category any different than Best Ongoing Game? How is it? It's got 4 of the same nominees doesn't have Warzone, has Fall Guys instead, and Valorant. I am gonna vote for Fall Guys, because I feel like it should win something. I feel bad for Fall Guys, for just... Among Us came out of nowhere. Nobody expected that to happen. I hope Fall Guys wins this. The social media account is really great, and what they did with the charity... Oh, I'm gonna look that up real quick. Be right back. Yeah, so what they did for the special effect charity, donating $1 million... Well, they didn't, technically, but because of them, $1 million was donated by all of these people to Special Effect, which is a charity for gaming with disabilities, which is awesome to see. This was just an awesome thing that happened this year in a sea of crappy stuff, so I really hope Fall Guys wins that one. Best VR/AR for the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. So, I don't have VR. I did play Dreams. I think this is the only thing it's nominated for, which is sad because that game is so cool. It's a Media Molecule game, so, you know, it didn't take off, really. It did for a little bit, on social media and stuff, seeing people make these super realistic breakfasts and things like that. Really crazy game. For that, just really awesome. So sad to see it only nominated in this category, but yeah, I think Star Wars could win. I think Half-Life, no, what am I talking about? Half-Life Alyx will win. People love that game, said it's the best VR game ever made, and it isn't nominated for Game of the Year, so I think it will win Best VR. Then we have innovation in accessibility, recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. Awesome category to add this year. Really, really cool. I have to vote for The Last of Us Part 2 just because I remember when it came out, with how excellent the game was, half the conversation was the incredible accessibility features that they added. So awesome category, glad to see all these things acknowledged, and yeah, just good to see. Then we got Best Action for the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat. I mean, yeah. Best Action Adventure for the best action/adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. Okay, I wanted to say, really cool to see Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order nominated. If you remember, it came out at the end of 2019, so it wasn't eligible for those Game Awards, so glad to see it was at least nominated for one category. Sucks to see it just up against a bunch of games that are gonna beat it. It was really awesome, but it's not gonna win against these guys. Haven't played Ori, haven't played Miles Morales, haven't played Valhalla. So I played half of these. Now, best action-adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. I am gonna vote for Last of Us Part 2 in this category. I haven't really talked super positively about this game yet, besides the performances, but Last of Us Part 2, incredible game. I can't even say much more about it. Just the way they took what was great about The Last of Us 1, added just enough, and made it even better, you know? Best role-playing for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. Is Genshin Impact massively multiplayer? Why did they... Unless... I don't think any of these are massively multiplayer, but okay. Only played 7 Remake, half of Persona 5 Royal. I have to say, I have played Persona 5 like 3 different times, one of them being Royal, gotten 40 hours in each time, and then this game is never ending. It's so great, but I just get distracted and I forget I'm playing it, and there it is, and then I'm gonna have to start it all over. But both 7 Remake and Persona 5 Royal, awesome games. Heard a lot of cool stuff about these two. Heard a little bit about this one. I don't like that it doesn't come complete. I mean, it's free, so that is something to be said. But you have to buy characters and whatnot. I don't usually like games like that, so it kind of just disqualifies for me. I have to give it to 7 Remake. Persona 5 Royal is awesome, but it is a game that came out 3 years ago. The stuff they added definitely made an impact. It was a lot of... They added a lot. A whole ending, extra palaces and stuff. Really awesome, but 7 Remake... I couldn't pull myself away from that game. Beat it twice, like immediately. Platinumed it. Awesome experience. And even though in other categories I might not vote when I don't know enough or haven't played enough, I have to vote for 7 Remake. It was just so excellent. I know it deserves to win. Okay, then we have Best Fighting. For the best game design primarily around head-to-head combat, a category with 2 ultimate editions of games that came out last year and years ago. A game that I'm pretty sure people generally say is just not good. And I don't know anything about these two. I love fighting games when I play them. Not super into that scene of things, so not gonna vote. Just thought I would comment on that weird situation that this category is in. Nothing really came out this year, I guess. I mean, unless Under Night In Birth EXE Late CLR is Game of the Year, I don't know. But, yeah. Then we have a category that's usually Best Nintendo Game, but not really this year. Best Family, for the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. Why do they say that sometimes? Okay. Animal Crossing New Horizons, Crash Bandicoot 4, Fall Guys, Mario Kart Live, Minecraft Dungeons, Paper Mario, Origami King. Really awesome set of games. I have to vote for Animal Crossing. I'm going to say more about it when we get to Game of the Year, but that game, it's just awesome. It came out, I'll talk about it later, but awesome game. Then we have Best Sim/Strategy, best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. What? Okay, to me that you could just chop that off. Because it's obvious, but okay. So, when I saw this, I don't remember past years, but I'm bummed to see Sim and Strategy bundled together. Not enough sim games come out, I guess, to make a whole category for Sims, but yeah, still bummed about it because I feel like both Crusader Kings 3 and Microsoft Flight Simulator deserve awards this year. Crusader Kings 3, a game that you need to take a college degree to understand, and Flight Simulator 2, they literally use it for flight training for real pilots, unless that was just something fake on Reddit that I read, but I'm pretty sure that's true. Yeah, so bummed to see these both can't win awards. I had to give it to Crusader Kings 3, which is just a game that is more up my alley, but just the depth and everything in that game, 10s out of 10s, like, across the board when it came out. If you like this kind of game, it's just up there with the best, easily. Then we have this category. And then we have Best Multiplayer for outstanding... I'm just kidding. Best Sports Racing for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. Dirt 5, F1, FIFA 21, NBA 2K21, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I really would skip over this I am skipping over it, but Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, people loved those remakes. They said general, consensus that they're awesome, faithful remakes. And I hope that it wins for that reason. Because we see this stuff all the time. I mean, I just can't get excited about this stuff. I don't, if it's your thing, if it's anyone's thing, that's awesome. More power to you. But I hope this wins because it's different. People loved it. Faithful remakes. I played 2 when I was a kid, back in the day, and it was awesome. So hope this wins. Then we have Best Multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. Have not played Valorant, haven't played Warzone. But that being said, this is pretty hard. Animal Crossing, I don't necessarily think that the reason it's great is it's multiplayer. It's definitely an aspect of it. It's great, being able to send stuff around and meet up with each other. It's awesome. But so much about that game is why it's awesome, not necessarily the multiplayer. Among Us, like I said before, took the world by storm. Definitely deserves to win either this or Best Mobile, like it was nominated for before. And then there's Fall Guys, which also took the world by storm, and then Among Us just totally stole it. But just so much fun playing it with my wife and just passing the controller back and forth. Every time we died and just cracking up, win or lose. It's just such a great game. So yeah, I'm not really sure what I would give it to. I'm gonna vote for Fall Guys. I expect Among Us to win. I voted for Among Us in Best Mobile, so I'm gonna do Fall Guys in this one. Content Creator of the Year, for a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2020. So I haven't heard of Jayan Lopez or Nick Merckx, but Tim the Tatman famously had his legendary run for a crown in Fall Guys after countless losses and memes about him not ever being able to do it, including from the Fall Guys Twitter. That was super fun to watch, and he could totally win for that reason. I haven't seen any of his other stuff, so I don't know how he is besides that, but those tweets and videos were hilarious. Ray, I haven't watched specifically. I've seen her a lot on Disguised Toasts, Among Us stuff, and she's very funny, very cool. One of the quickest growing creators out there right now, I think. So she could definitely win as well. But my vote is going to go to Alana Pierce, who went from IGN to Funhouse to her own YouTube channel to now, just a few days ago, announcing that she got a job at Sony Santa Monica, creators of God of War, as a writer. She's just had such an awesome career, has a great podcast, Play, Watch, Listen, with Troy Baker, Mike Bithell, and Austin Wintry, 3 other amazing people in the industry. She has just gone on to do so much stuff, and I can't wait to see where her career goes. She's just been blowing up and having success after success, so I hope she wins, and I think she will win, and I vote for her. Alright, then we've got Best Debut Game for the best debut game created by a new independent studio. The only games I have really seen are Carrion and Mortal Shell. I've heard a lot about Phasmophobia. It's all over Twitch. Raji and Roki seem beloved by a niche audience, but people really did like them. Best debut game. See, what I've heard of Carrion is that it didn't really live up to the premise. It had a good premise, but didn't really deliver, kind of got stale. Yeah, so I don't think Carrion is going to win. Mortal Shell, is one of the many Souls-likes in the past years to come out. Did, a couple things differently, and people seemed to like it, but, From Software's Souls series and Sekiro, Bloodborne, they're so hard to touch. So any Souls-like that comes out, especially Mortal Shell, which is literally one of the closest copies, camera-wise and aesthetic-wise, looks a lot like the Souls games. So you're never going to reach that level, but people did enjoy it. I'm going to be interested to see who wins this one. My guess is going to be Phasmophobia just because of how popular it is, but I'm going to have to give all these games a try myself at some point. Really looking forward to seeing this one play out. Alright, then we have a lot of esports categories that I don't have any... I can't say anything about any of these. I have watched some things casually, but nothing near anything that would give me the authority to say anything about this. So we're going to go all the way back up to Best Game Direction and Best... Game of the Year. Okay, Best Game Direction, Game of the Year. This is the hard part. Alright, we're going to start with Best Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Man, I haven't played Half-Life Alyx, and I haven't played Doom Eternal, but I've played all the other games, which is the first time in a while that I've played everything pretty much in these categories, which I feel awesome about, being able to talk about this like this. So what do I think? I don't know. Let's see. So, game direction and design. These games are just so excellent, and they all deserve their spots here. Ghost of Tsushima did some really interesting stuff with the way that instead of constantly having to check a map or a waypoint, you could just swipe up on the touchpad and the wind would guide you, or a little bird would show up and fly you to an interesting landmark, or the foxes would lead you to the shrines. That stuff was really interesting, and I think should be applauded that wise, trying to immerse you in the game world more using the design. Final Fantasy VII Remake, the combat, just the customization, the materia, different weapons, giving you the different, I forget exactly what they're called, but, weapon arts or ultimates, whatever they called them, swapping between characters and almost playing a co-op game with yourself, just like controlling all of these characters. It was such an awesome feeling. Last of Us Part 2, just incredible atmosphere, graphics, everything, just the best that we've seen. Naughty Dog every time raise the bar as high as it can go, really. And then Hades, I've talked so much about Hades, but what I haven't talked about is the boons and weapons and the variation in that game of every single run being so different. You never know what you're gonna get, upgrade wise, and what enemies you might face. Just, it's so incredible. So, I'm gonna not vote yet, and we're gonna talk about Game of the Year. So, a lot of the times, if you listen to any podcasts, watch any people talk about these nominees and who they want to vote for, different outlets like IGN, Kind of Funny, Easy Allies, whatever, a lot of times you're going to hear them have this conversation about, well, what is Game of the Year? Is it the best game that year, or is it the game that defines that year, like just was the most popular, the one everyone talked about? That's why I've been keeping this tweet up here from Brandon Jones from Easy Ally, well, really Andrea Renee from What's Good Games. I would love Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards to consider a trending Game of the Year category for games like Animal Crossing New Horizons, Among Us, Fall Guys game, or Phasmophobia that caught fire with audiences but might not fit or win against big AAA games in any other categories. And Brandon Jones just seconding that opinion. And I agree, because to me, Game of the Year is the best game that year. I think it's always been that, and I think that's generally agreed, but a lot of the times people do have that conversation, and I just wanted to bring that up because if that was the case, if there was a trending Game of the Year or something like that, I would absolutely give it to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I mean, that game, it's been said a million times, but it came out exactly the right time, at a time when everything was closing down. It let us get back together, communicate, hang out, have fun, it's so funny. I think we're always going to look back at that and remember that. And it's just still been selling like crazy. It's so popular, and rightfully so. It's the best game in the series. So awesome. Just absolutely deserves all the praise. That being said, I don't think it will win recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Yeah. Then there's Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just delivered on all fronts. Took something that we all loved and made it better, more than we even could have imagined. And just knocked it out of the park. Sad to see... I mean, years ago, sad to hear that it isn't the full game. It's only the end of Disc 1, pretty much. But can't hold that against it. The game that it is, the new things it added, the things it switched up with the story, really incredible. Ghost of Tsushima, an awesome experience. The combat, the environments, the characters, the music, everything about it, very awesome. But that being said, I don't think it is so different or so incredibly better than any other of the open world experiences that we've had in recent years. Definitely up there with them all, but not one that I'm going to vote for in either Game of the Year or Best Game Direction. Then we've got Hades and The Last of Us Part 2, my eternal internal struggle between the sequel to my favorite game of all time and just another knockout game from a studio who makes nothing but knockout games. It's so difficult. So that is my struggle. As much as I love 7 Remake, platinumed it. For me, these two categories are between Hades and Last of Us Part 2. And, you know, Last of Us Part 1 is my favorite game ever, so coming into this, I would have never thought this would have happened, that any game would even be contesting it for me. Last of Us Part 2 did come out to a lot of controversy. People didn't like the story. Things were leaked. People got different ideas about what that was without context, and kind of wrote the game off before it even came out, and they didn't give it a chance. If you did give it a chance, it is an incredible 25-hour ride of just crazy events, characters that are so real. Like I said before, just incredible performances. But I do find myself, as the months go on, realizing that maybe I didn't love The Last of Us Part 2 as much as I thought I did when I beat it and put it down the first time. Because I realized I never even went back to play it a second time. When I had played The Last of Us 1 4 times in a row, beat it, went back, 4 times. And I think that does say something about it to me. An incredible experience, but one that maybe subconsciously I didn't realize I don't want to do again, at least not immediately. Part of that could be that it is a rough story with a very, very dark, and something people brought up a lot, especially this year. A dark story in a dark time, it can be hard to play. But I did love it. And then there's just Hades, which just came out of nowhere and is 10 out of 10. We're talking about 10 out of 10 games here. I would say 7 Remake, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2, all 10 out of 10, but it's just so subjective at this point. But Hades, the gameplay, the music, the story that I mentioned of just so much dialogue and depth in the world and the variety in the combat. I'll try and link a video I made about Hades if I can figure out how to do that fancy card thing in the top right. Maybe it's there right now. You can watch me talk a little bit in depth. I mean, it's only 2 minutes long, but about Hades and why I love it so much, with visuals from the game so you can get a better idea. But Hades is perfect, and like 7 Remake, like Last of Us Part 2, I just couldn't bring myself away from it when I was playing it. And I admitted to myself months ago when I was thinking of this, when it all went down and I'm thinking about this moment, the fact that Hades even contests Part 2, in my mind, it wins. Because by all means, Part 2 should be my new favorite game of all time. And it's up there, but I think Hades surpassed it, and I didn't expect it, but, it did. And for that reason, I'm going to vote for Game of the Year and Best Game Direction. I mean, I could just talk on and on. I'm just rambling at this point, but just everything about the game it just feels good. It's awesome. It's hilarious. It's heartwarming. Incredible. Amazing. Awesome. Play it, please. Okay. So, that being said, what do I think will win these categories? As much controversy as Last of Us Part 2 had, it was critically acclaimed across the board. 10s out of 10s, 9.5s. A few outlets did have problems with the story, like some of the, general populace did. But I think it will also be between these two. I think 7 Remake has an outside shot, but I don't think it'll win. I mean, it'll be really nuts if Hades wins. I think people will be outraged, like the opposite people who were outraged when the game came out and the story wasn't to their liking, will be outraged if it doesn't win. I think Hades has a chance. It was just as well received as Last of Us Part 2. Do some of these outlets on the jury, will they feel guilt if they don't do Last of Us Part 2, or will they feel guilt if they don't do Hades? Because of course Last of Us Part 2 is going to win. It's this huge game from a huge studio, when Supergiant Games is something like 11 people and the composer voices the main character and all this stuff. It's just a crazy year. Just going to reiterate again, best year of games ever, easily in my mind. And that is what made this so much fun and made it really hard. But let me know what you guys think. If you made it this far, this is probably a pretty long video. I'm going to edit a little bit, but definitely been talking a while. So let me know what you think about this stuff. Definitely interested to hear. Wow, Hades. Yeah, I really love that game, but definitely interested to hear what you guys think. Can't wait till December 10th when this will go down, and we'll see how it really shakes out. Yeah, if you guys made it this far, thank you so much. Please subscribe. Stay tuned for my next videos. I have a lot of ideas. Going to try and be more consistent and quicker with my uploads. Just wanted to make this because I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I knew it would be a quick video to get out and to finally make something and talk about games again, because that's what I love doing. So, yeah, subscribe. We'll see what happens. Bye.